Good morning, ladies. I'm Robert Harper, and we're here because we want to. Let's talk heritage. Okay? So before we start going about our conversation, I'd like you all to introduce yourselves and your portfolio.
Hey, I'm Joanne Miller. I'm the Director of Funding and Development in the Archbishop of Port of Spain, Archdiocese.
And I'm Jenny Lee. I'm also a Director of Funding and Development with the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Port of Spain.
Okay, so I'm speaking to the money people this morning on how...
You got it.
Yes, you are. Yes.
All right, so the money of how you are generating the funds for all the stuff that the church and the archdiocese wants to do.
Exactly.
Yes, particularly with capital projects.
Okay, all right, well, good. This morning we are sitting on in the beautiful, recently refurbished, restored, see? So again, you started to teach me already. So that's the proper language. So it's the restored building is what you'll see. Good. So the restored Cathedral here in Independence Square. How recently was it restored?
It was rededicated in 2015, December 2015, but the restoration started in 2012 in all earnest.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay.
In 2012, with the dilapidation surveys were done.
Correct.
They were brought on board in 2010.
Right.
And minimal works started in 2011, but it really started in earnest in 2012.
we had to close the cathedral in 2012.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original plan was to do it in 8 phases and do it
Yes.
while the church was open.
Right.
That plan had to be aborted in 2012 when they realized that the roof was riddled with termites and it was going to be a hazard to people worshipping in the building.
How old is the cathedral?
162 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. All right, so you're, it's very beautiful as you drive by. People always comment on how it looks. But I could imagine the obstacles and the pressure it is in raising funds for this. What are some of the challenges that you get outside of money, of course, that you get in raising funds for such a huge capital project?
Well, the first thing was building awareness for the
need
to restore this
Okay.
beautiful building. It's a built heritage. It is our mother church, Mother Church of the Catholics in Trinidad and Tobago. But more than that, we call it the soul of the city, Port of Spain. So
It represents so much of
Yes, it
our
does.
history and our culture, this church. And when the opportunity came up, they said, okay, let's do something, because it was falling. I mean, the cathedral sits on the water table.
Yes.
So there are amazing issues in terms of water and water penetration in the walls.
Because you see old portraits of the sea.
That's
There's a
right.
famous old portrait of the sea
lapping
right,
the cathedral.
right next to the cathedral.
Yes.
And now I
And we
was...
say crabs used to walk up and come into the cathedral while people were worshiping. Yes.
Okay, all right. So the crabs came to pray also.
Exactly.
That's interesting. All right. So
And the other thing was that not just in restoring the church,
Right.
but I believe most importantly, and one of the things that we talked about throughout the entire process, was bringing an awareness to the nation of Trinidad and Tobago
Right.
and to the importance of heritage buildings.
and appreciating these buildings.
That's right. That's right.
Instead of just seeing it as an old structure that's just standing
Exactly.
there.
It's part of our national identity. It gives us a sense of pride. Just imagine if all our heritage buildings were left in this
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
what would that say about us as a nation?
so one of the major challenges I'm certain you get is the conflict of whether to destroy the building and start up anew or restore it. How do you manage that particular challenge? Because you always hear, why did us break it down and build a new one?
You know, we live so close to Big Brother.
Right.
In the United States, and they are, consumerism galore. Let's break it down, let's start anew. But I think that what we look at is who built this?
Right.
Okay, so it was probably a Spanish architect who did the design, the Latin cross features, but it is the men and women, the men from Laventille that quarried the stone from Laventille.
Oh, okay.
It is the people of Trinidad and Tobago who built the church.
Oh.
Nobody else. And I think that, in terms of heritage buildings, that is one of the most crucial things that people forget, or they're just not aware of it, that it is our building. these buildings belong to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It doesn't belong to anybody else. Not the French, not the Spanish, nobody else, not the English. It belongs to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It was built by the people of Trinidad and
Now
Tobago.
that alone, it was funded by the poor people
That's
around,
right.
who were around at the time. This was not a government project, unlike the Trinity Cathedral,
Yeah.
which was funded mainly by Sir Ralph Woodford.
Right.
A lot of British pounds came in and funded the Trinity Cathedral.
Could I assume that's the gentleman that Woodford Square is named
Correct.
after?
That's right, in the
Correct.
Trinity Cathedral, the
Unlike that-
Anglican
Right, yes.
Cathedral right
Our
next door.
cathedral was funded by our local Catholic people.
Oh, okay.
So, and this is why it took a while to raise sufficient funds, and it was done in parts. You know, it was over a period of time that they were able to complete it. So it was completed in 1850.
Yeah.
Oh, and
But
you
it
can,
started since something like 1837.
Yes.
It took a while. So it is people's blood, sweat, and tears that produced this beautiful building. So we cannot let it go into
correct, and you have to give them some sort of engineering credit for building such a structure as we earlier said, near to the waterbed.
Sure.
Where that stays
Sure.
upright and good. So,
Sure.
all right.
162 years.
Correct. So that's well done to the
Even
gentleman
there
and
was
the
a
ladies.
massive earthquake in the 1897, something around.
Right.
And the cathedral, this cathedral stood it,
Yeah.
withstood it with minimal damage. Other buildings were seriously damaged.
All right. Kudos. So we talking a lot about the cathedral, but I'm certain there are other structures within the archdiocese that there's this sort of emphasis. Could you give me like example of an older church where I'm originally from San Fernando. So recently St. Benedict's RC was done. So what is the stance with your already fundraising to determine whether we will refurbish, or there's a word you used earlier, restore. Or do you restore those buildings, or do we break down? How do you all go about that decision making with structures that fall under your purview?
All of our historic sites that are under the purview of the Catholic Church, the intention is to restore them all.
Okay.
But you would appreciate that restoration takes a lot of money.
Yes.
A lot of money, and there are a lot of competing needs for funds that are raised.
Yes.
So as a matter of fact, there are people who would say, we don't put money in bricks and mortar.
That's right.
They prefer to fund education.
Yes.
Or maybe cancer patients or cancer research.
Medical
and
issues.
all very, very worthy causes.
Yes,
Okay.
very valid.
So what we try to do is we try to elevate the importance of what we are doing, why this is also important, and why
Correct.
maybe some of your funds should come
Yes.
also to restoring heritage sites.
Okay.
And it's a whole process, a whole educational process. We did some really crazy things in trying to get that message across.
Because there's a awareness that you have to build for people
Yes,
that's
for
right.
how important these structures are.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, again, because when you lose these things, you lose a lot of your history. Because again, I'm speaking from there's a church on Frederick Street that was torn down.
Reprise.
Correct,
Yes.
that was torn down about 2 years
It's
ago.
now a
Heartbreaking.
parking lot.
It's a parking lot.
And I was surprised how many people were heartbroken with that structure coming down. And now, as you get a little older, you say, I now see why certain people are saying, don't destroy
Yeah.
Don't destroy that structure. That structure means something to the people, especially of Huddersfield. But again, it's gone. So now it's
It's a parking lot.
it's a parking lot.
St. Joseph RC Church. That
Right.
was a
In
very
St. Joseph.
first church in this country.
Yep.
The country of Trinidad. The first church. St. Joseph was the capital of Trinidad.
Yes,
You
correct.
remember that?
Yes.
So when the Spanish came, they brought the religion, the Catholic religion, and they set up the first church to introduce the native people to Catholicism. That church is now in disrepair.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it
There is a
recently.
massive awareness campaign asking people to help. This is our history. This is our heritage. These structures have witnessed, they stand witness to a lot of our history.
Yes,
And
yes,
if you
yes.
look at the beauty of these churches, you can see that the artisans put their soul into creating what you see today. And it's just a shame that people don't appreciate That is part of us.
Well, unfortunately,
You
too
know?
many times we appreciate something after it's gone.
After
Yes, that seems to be a human trait that we have. So I'm gonna ask. So St. Benedict's Abbey, how is that? The pride of that structure when you're driving on the highway and you look up
Yeah,
Yes.
St. Benedict.
and
St. Benedict.
you see that structure. That is so. I assume all that is part of your purview and all is maintaining and keeping that looking in as pristine form as it is.
It's probably a little different from that because the system within the church is a little different.
Okay.
Say Mount St. Benedict, they are the monks. So that's their property. They are basically, it's their responsibility to maintain.
Okay.
But at the same time, the seminary, where young men go to learn to become priests,
Correct.
is located on the same compound. And the responsibility for the maintenance of those buildings falls on the Catholic Church. So yes, we have assisted them with the maintenance. And I think most importantly, what we have to touch on is maintenance, because maintenance is a foreign word in this country. It just doesn't happen.
Yes,
It doesn't
yes.
happen. People, I don't know what it is. You build something, you live in it, and again, I said it's kind of part of that big brother syndrome. You're finished with it, you throw away. But no, that's not it. You have to learn to maintain the buildings, what it takes. And here in the cathedral, part of the work that we did when we were restoring the cathedral was training the local craftsmen on restoration techniques.
Yes.
Let's say like the limestone techniques and how to remove certain, the Portland cement without damaging the bricks on the walls. Those kinds of techniques were lost. So during the restoration process here
Right.
in the cathedral, we actually trained the workmen
Okay, good, very good.
in these techniques so that it wasn't just a question of spending the money and fixing the building. We had more of a social responsibility behind it. Train the workmen, the artisans, so they can then go on.
You provide
and
opportunity
do-
for
for other buildings,
other projects, correct?
Not necessarily the Catholic Church. You can go and do it anywhere else.
Correct.
And the other part, most importantly, was telling the nation, educating the nation on the importance of preserving our heritage sites. And I think on those two aspects and the aspect of money, I think we did pretty good.
Okay, well, certainly, because again, there's a cost analysis of all this maintenance versus restoring. So you have to many times are probably dollars and cents are the number, your argument and your analysis. Where
Sure.
if we allow this building to break apart and fall apart, it will have cost us X, Y, and Z.
Once more.
Correct? Or if we keep maintaining it at this particular cost, it will have this sort of saving saving as we go along.
Yeah, very much so.
When we raise funds for restoring the cathedral, for instance, we also have to keep bear in mind the maintenance of it
Yes,
for a few
yes.
years going down.
Yes.
At least initially, because people figure, okay, it's open, it's done, we can stop giving money now. So we have
No,
to.
it's true.
It's true.
Yep.
So we actually had to set aside funds for maintenance for the
Yeah.
first few years.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
And encourage people to continue to support your cathedral. We do not want it to fall back
Correct.
into the state that it was before. It is a struggle. It is a struggle because their interests become diverted.
Yes, yes.
Other things pop up and they figure, okay, well, this is more important. But it is very important that we continue to ask people to maintain, and to bring them, have events in the cathedral
Sure.
so they can come and
Yeah.
see and
Yeah.
let them know
And
that it's
feel part of it.
alive.
Yes, yes.
It is a living,
Yes.
As a matter of fact, when the cathedral was first rededicated and under Archbishop Harris, we did concerts, sacred concerts. And like for a blue note, you can come, you can sit down, and you can listen to the marionettes
Yes.
or the Lydians.
yeah.
And the people from the area who came, and they said, we always wanted to listen to a choral group such as this. And in the setting in which it was done, it was just truly
So
amazing.
there's a pride. So So the cathedral brings up pride to
That's right.
the eastern side of Portsmouth.
Yes.
Yes, eastern side of Portsmouth. Just to get my calendar and my coordinates in my head. So what other projects are you all working on coming up soon?
We're moving from bricks and mortar.
Bricks and mortar?
We're moving from restoration. Well, not entirely. We are helping St.
We are
Joseph's
helping
still.
St. Joseph's.
Right.
Yes.
But the focus is now education.
Education.
Okay,
And we have
so-
to do a whole awareness campaign once again to our population.
Yeah,
So the
because when you
need
think
for
about it,
that
everybody's
again.
saying like, what is happening in this
Crime,
country? Look at the
crime.
children, look at the children. And we think we've come up with the answer.
Okay, that's excellent. So even outside of Catholics in Trinidad and Tobago, we're doing awareness and education even beyond that.
It's a national,
It's a national crisis.
you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the criminals who we have now were born innocent babies.
Yep.
Yeah.
What went wrong?
Correct.
What did our education system do for them or did not do for them?
Correct. And so, in a lot of instances, what they did not do.
Correct.
Yes.
So the Catholic Church has done a lot of research and have a lot of experience because we have 118 primary schools,
Wow.
which is 25% of all the primary schools throughout the country.
Yes.
It is a lot of experience that we have with respect to what works and what does not work.
Okay.
And a lot has changed since we introduced primary schools in this country. So we're at a stage now where we want to, do an intervention. It's more of a social intervention
Right.
for our young people to
Okay.
prevent them from going down that road of crime. Give them the help and the support that they need. There are children who they're condemned until a life of failure. They're disregarded because maybe they have a disorder. Whether it's ADHD, whether it is autism,
Yes.
they're just slow learners. Children develop at different times
Correct.
in their life.
Correct.
Cannot condemn a child in primary school, telling them that they're dunce, and set them aside.
Correct.
It's not right. We're not doing right by our children.
Correct.
So the whole idea now is to revamp our education system, starting with the schools that we have control.
Okay.
You know, but it is a national crisis that we're in.
Okay.
I think everybody would agree with that.
But if we want to get back to heritage and schools, I don't know if you're aware, but Holy Name Convent, which is up on Charlotte Street, just opposite Memorial
Right,
Park,
right.
there's a wonderful chapel that is actually a heritage site.
I
that
went
is
to that
in
chapel
the school.
once.
It is a beautiful
Once,
It
yes,
is
it
an
is.
amazing
Yep.
site, and it is one of our heritage buildings that we have to look at, and for a school to be able to maintain,
That's different.
it's extremely difficult.
You know, they suffered significantly big damage in 2018
Yes.
when we had that big
Correct, yes.
In Holy Name
And
Convent.
they are also struggling to raise funds to repair the school
Yes.
and to expand the school. There's so much
many.
going on.
Yeah.
So many very worthy projects. But unfortunately, we tap the same pockets over and over. And
Yeah.
I think
It's
just
the-
now
it's the
people
same-
start
it's the
crossing
same
the
one.
road when they see us
Correct.
coming their faces.
Correct.
Like-
Look, Jen,
Yeah, we're
Jen,
gonna get
it's
Joanne
coming,
coming.
it's coming.
Let's pretend we don't see them.
All right, that's fine. If I do that, it's by accident. If I see you next week, it's not deliberate. All right, so the school will not fall under this. Put what we all are doing there. Is that heritage?
It's a secondary school.
Yes.
Holy Name Convent. Well, it's a secondary school and a primary school as well, both on the same
Oh,
compound.
so let's use another example. So the school will not fall under your funding.
It does not
The
right now.
chapel.
Okay, that's the chapel itself.
Yeah, but
Okay.
under our funding, so that was what I was trying to explain before. Everyone has their own responsibilities. So,
Right.
in fact, the reason why the Archbishop's appeal was formed was because the cathedral is our mother church.
Right.
It pertains to all Catholics within the Archdiocese
Correct.
of Port of Spain. It is the mother church, yeah? So which is why it fell specifically. But when we get to St. Joseph, which was the first church, which is going through that restoration process right now, it is the people of St. Joseph who we rely on to raise the funds. So where we come in is we say, okay, fine, like, let's see what we can do for them, and we would give them a hand, and we would
Okay.
find things,
Okay.
and
I don't understand the
find
process.
money.
And because of our experience at the cathedral, we
Yes,
can lend.
lend.
some advice,
Yes.
give them
And talk to them about
services.
maintenance. And talk to them about maintenance.
But that cannot be our focus because our focus is now on education.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, I now understand the process. So it's like I wouldn't call you all next week and say that this church needs funding. I need you money
Oh,
from
we
you.
still
all
got the
to do
scores,
that.
huh?
We
I
still
could
get the
imagine.
scores.
I could imagine.
We
They still get it because again, you already
And
need
we really
money.
would love to help everybody. We really would.
Yeah, but funding is extremely difficult.
And as I keep saying, it's the same pockets we tap
Correct.
all the time.
Correct.
Yeah, so we have to be very, very careful. And, people look at us and say, wow, those ladies can raise money. And I tell them all the time, we really don't know how we did it. Yeah, we went about every
we
day.
did some crazy things.
It-
When we look back, we laugh and we say we can't believe we did
what
that.
we've done.
My Lord.
But at the same time, it worked. And I say it's purely divine intervention that
Correct,
we're talking about. And the other thing, and most importantly, is transparency and accountability.
Correct.
And gratitude.
Every single person who put money in any project that we're dealing with got a thank you from the Archbishop.
And a receipt.
And a receipt that says, your money, it came for St. Joseph, it went to
Excellent.
St. Joseph.
Excellent.
It came for
Excellent.
education, it came for the cathedral, wherever you want your money to go. And we publish audited accounts
Okay.
every year.
Every
Every year.
That's
good.
very,
That's-
very important.
Very, very important.
Because
Because
in
it
this
builds
climate,
credibility.
correct.
It builds credibility.
In this
And-
climate, yes.
Yeah. And people know they have faith that say, okay, fine, those ladies raise that money
And it's
you
going
know,
where
but
it's
at least
Because
it's going
there's
where.
almost like a natural distrust that people have,
Yeah.
especially
Sure.
when it comes to people requesting money
Yes.
for this particular.
Yes.
And you're not sure if the money is going to the particular cause.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it's
Correct.
very-
And that's one of the things that we guard fiercely in our office.
Okay, well, I'm very pleased to. So the cathedral. Is there any near plans for the cathedral other than just the maintaining of the cathedral?
Well, okay,
Go on,
so we
Sebastian.
rededicated the cathedral in 2015. There are a couple of things that still need to be
Okay,
done.
right.
There's the signage
Right.
that we're working on outside of the maintenance, yes. So we're looking at actually some point in time down the road, depending on how the paint reacts to the walls and those kinds of things, that it will need a thorough paint job.
We didn't
There's
touch
a
on the
beautiful
organ.
organ. Yeah, there's a beautiful organ that we have in the cathedral, Walker and Sons. They came from London, England. They talked to us. It's going to cost $5 million to restore the organ.
And that is not a priority right now. So we had
Yeah.
to put that on hold, as well as the stained glass window. That
Yes.
was also in the plan, but we needed to
Yeah,
spend the funds
correct.
where you were able
Yeah.
to open the cathedral and have people re-enter.
But there are certain things like the signage, a big sign that says, this is the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. We did try something outside on the front walls. Unfortunately, it didn't work, so we had to take that down. But now we're going to put a massive sign in the courtyard itself, that represents and says what
So
the building
I'm
is.
going to certainly look forward. Now you're going to make me drive downtown Port of Spain looking
Well,
forward.
it doesn't matter
to
which
that
end you
signage.
come from, you'll be able to see the signage.
Okay,
That's the
alright.
whole
Well,
idea.
I'm looking forward to seeing that then.
And you should just come one day when there's mass, because it's actually quite an amazing thing to hear the music.
This is a beautiful. I remember the first mass I served at here. Because on
Was
Altar
that-
Silver.
you were not there?
Yeah, a few years ago. A couple of years ago, I was on Altar Silver, and I could remember.
It was a priest at the time.
Again, I'm going to show my age, Archbishop Anthony Pant.
Are you kidding?
So
Oh. You're one that got away.
what do you? Because we used to have like an exchange program with different churches,
Okay.
and used to come up and remember. So remember one of the Sundays we came up, and it was you're spellbound. You're looking up at all the stained glass and all the stuff hanging from the roof, and
Sure.
wow.
So quite a few people had those kinds of experiences. When we started to restore the cathedral, there was a relationship they had with the building, even though they may not have come to worship
Yes.
for a while.
Yeah.
They remember, they made their first communion here, maybe their grandparent was
Yes,
buried
yes.
here, maybe the grandparent got married here.
And the other thing is that when we were doing during the restoration, we came down and we walked that promenade and we filmed people, myself and Joanne.
Random people, we interviewed them.
Random people we interviewed. And you would be surprised that the people who come in here, some of them are not Catholic.
But
You know,
it's
but they
peace
come
and serenity
into
a
that
sacred
that
space.
provides. Yes, correct.
This
This-
is a sanctuary.
Yes.
They come here, they come off the city
Priority.
gate. They come just if they early for work, they will come and they will just sit.
Even if it's
Say
set for 5
sanctuary.
minutes,
That's
yeah.
right.
Exactly.
That's right.
what
And
they
that's,
said.
you get that in a heritage building.
Yes,
You know,
correct.
you get that peace, especially the church.
Yes.
You know, that peace of mind, and you can sit for a few minutes before you go back
This
to
is
the
why we
hustle
call
and
it the
bustle.
soul of the city,
Yeah.
because it welcomes all.
All.
It belongs to all of us, and not just the Catholics. It belongs to our people.
Yeah,
the
and
people of
doors
Trinidad
open,
and
doors open and
That's
welcoming
right.
you and coming.
Welcome.
That's right.
Come
Come
in,
in.
sit
That's right.
down, and relax, pray to God. Even Archbishop Harris had said that's what he did when he realized he had to become a priest.
Oh, okay, that's
He
interesting.
said he came, he sat here, and he had a conversation with God.
Okay.
You know, this is what happens when you come into this secret space.
Ladies, thank you very much. I appreciate the info, the knowledge, the direction at which you all are going about. I don't want to take your place in raising money for these projects that you all are going. Because again, as I said, St. Joseph now becoming
Sure.
a priority. I wish you all the best.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you much for your time.
Thank
Because
you.
as always, you have to meet and sit, especially as we talk heritage, because it's important for us. Let's talk heritage.
It is really, really important,
It is.
and we wish you guys the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.